Listen, flashback, take me back to when, I don't know if it was you or whether it was Arthur Blank, who convinced who for you to join the organization back in 2016? Because you were in that transition, you leave Mercedes, you go right to Arthur M. Blank Sports Entertainment. Who convinced who?
Look, we sort of dated for a while. It was an interesting thing that ultimately Arthur was looking for his first CEO,
Mm-hmm.
and he knew that culture and value systems matters above all. And he said it to me when we were talking to each other. Hey, Steve, I take for granted, I take it on faith that you've got an accomplished career, or we wouldn't be meeting together, right? You can check a lot of boxes off on your resume, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is who you are as a person, your character, your value system, and will you operate my businesses in a way that I would feel great about, right? So that was the biggest sort of thing for Arthur. And we spent, gosh, half a dozen times we met in his office, out for lunch, out for dinner, sort of having conversation alignment. And I felt great about that because it made me feel really good that he cared deeply about who I was as a person, not just what I accomplished. And sometimes companies, they lose their way when they just chase outcomes, right? Let me be number one in sales. Let me go after market share. Let me, and sometimes bad things happen when you chase outcomes. Arthur is a guy that says, if I get the value system right and I get the culture right, the outcomes will follow. And our businesses are absolutely testimony to that belief system. And so, look, it didn't take much convincing to go work for an amazing guy like Arthur. Like I told you, an iconic entrepreneur who cares deeply, deeply about his community, signed the Giving Pledge. 95% of his wealth is going back through his foundation to society. And honestly, always puts his money where his mouth is, right? If he says, I'm going to do this, or community is important to me, he doesn't just check a couple boxes. He gets down in the weeds and says, how can I make a positive impact? So working for somebody like that is an absolute pleasure. And if I toured you around, if we took a tour around Mercedes-Benz Stadium, I would show you all the places where Arthur didn't cut corners. And so many of those big projects, they have this thing called value engineering, right? Big projects like that, they always go over budget. Then you sit back down, you sharpen your pencil, and you start slashing things. Well, Arthur Blank doesn't know how to spell value engineering. He said, I'm going to take care of the fan. I'm going to take care of our customers, and I'm going to deliver them an exceptional experience. And if that means I have to put an extra elevator over here, or I have to make the seats 21 inches instead of 19 inches because it's more comfortable, he did that and paid the incremental costs in order to do that. Heck, he invested millions upon millions of dollars extra to get that LEED Platinum certification. He didn't need to do that, but as a leading citizen in Atlanta, he knew I gotta do the right thing for my community. In that case, it was making Mercedes-Benz Stadium a LEED Platinum facility.
Absolutely. Well, listen, under your tenure, you opened up that stadium. You were able to, the 2019 was it the United win the MLS Cup. And the Falcons got there 2018. The Falcons got there in 2017 Super Bowl, but I think he'd be very happy with the way that his organization has grown under your direction. But if you can describe him in one word, right? In one word, how would you describe Arthur Blank after telling me everything you just told me? Because I know you were just doing it to get a raise. It's coming, Steve. You're going to get that raise. But how would you describe Arthur Blank in one word?
I'm definitely at a point where I don't need to flatter Arthur. Everything when I talk about him, I talk about it really from the heart.
Yeah.
So one word: servant.
Servant.
He serves the community. He serves the customer. He has a servant heart. And for me, the model of leadership that I've tried to practice and live my entire life is called servant leadership. The organization doesn't work for me as the CEO. I am only there to serve the people inside of the organization. So servant is the word I use to describe Arthur.